Hello, guys. Welcome back to the YouTube channel with Professor Victor on Beyond Economics. In this channel, we're going to create a couple of topics that are going to make us better persons with our finances. See you on several other episodes we're going to be curating. Bye-bye. Good cheers. Ciao. Thank you for joining us. We are here again with the CEO, an experienced astute investor, business owner, and entrepreneur across several continents. And today we'll be talking about yet another interesting topic that have saddled a lot of business owners, corporations, and I want to get his insights on this special topic called black tax. Do you know what is black tax? What are the implications for business owner? How can the government come in? And much more we want to discuss today on this episode. Thank you one more time for having. We've had you before, but for our new audience, we want to know who you are briefly before we delve into the discourse of today.
Yes, sir. My name is Siri Olga. I'm an entrepreneur.
Thank you so much. Like I said earlier, this is an astute the investor, business owner across several continents. In your own opinion, away from dictionary definition, what is black tax? For those that are not familiar with the word black tax. In a very simple way, layman way, we know the Oxford definition, but in your own simple, basic way, what does it mean to say black tax?
Yeah, how can I simplify it? Yeah, it's more like, it's a giveaway. Yes, let me just call it a giveaway. It's an assistance that you render to our friends and family, and it's common in developing cultures. In the black ecosystem, right? So yes, it's common. It's more like you have been a financially frail person, and your wealth or what you've gathered so far is not for you alone. There are family members who are fetching on it also to survive. Or this.
So, what are the implications of this giveaway in quotes? Implications for business owner, especially early bets, with someone trying to set off at a very early stage. What are the implications for new business owner, early bets in the business ecosystem? What is the implication of this black tax?
Generally speaking, you need finance to run to maintain the business. So when you have leakages, say for example, you're a new business owner, or you say you're not a business but a post timer, you have a lot of loopholes like leakages situation where you spend money unwisely. I will call it unwise spending. Impulse on a blackmailing level. No, somehow it will affect your business, but you wouldn't have money to scale up that business to expand it. Especially when the funds are coming from that business, because you always want to plow back the profits of the business. But when you have a situation where there are a lot of black taxes around, you have a lot of family members, extended family member, friends who are dependent. You don't need a social access that is going to affect your business, but you wouldn't be able to sustain that business. A lot of your giveaway as situated here, and you engage to affect businesses.
Even these concerns you've raised, do you see black tax as a corporation, as a challenge, or as an obligation? Is it an obligation or is it an economic challenge? What's your perspective on this from this lens, on this side of the spectrum? Is it an obligation? Is it obligatory, or is it what is the root cause of this? I know you've shed light on this basically because it's common in the African ecosystem or in the black race ecosystem.
Yes, it is not an obligation. Say, going by the dictionary definition of what obligation is, but somehow you are a kind of compelled to do all of these things culturally, because that's a system that you are raised in, and you've seen how that you practically depend on someone who is doing better in the family to help you raising others who are still not doing very well. So somehow culturally you are tied to wanting to do this. Because your system, sometimes it's difficult for you to escape that system, but it's necessary that you escape it because it's not obligatory. There are certain helps that you want to give that are very important that you do, but there are others that are just based on entitlement. So you should be able to differentiate the ones that are very important from the ones that are just coming from an entitlement mentality stuff.
Yeah, I'm happy you've highlighted. Thank you so much for your insight. I'm really glad you've highlighted this challenges. So it's obvious that it's a challenge for early beginners in business and in the business ecosystems. So what are the practical ways for a young entrepreneur at the very beginning? What practical ways? How would you say you have scaled through, or you have scaled your business to this level that it's gone global in Dubai, here in Turkey, and seem expanding in leaps and bounds? How would you say you've been able to navigate this monster called, I use the word monster because indeed is a pull down syndrome. So how would you say you're able to escape or maneuver around the black pack syndrome, being as an African entrepreneur?
Yeah, yes. That's a very important question. Everything is around proper budgets. Okay? Proper budgeting, vis-a-vis discipline. And again, if you want to take the practical step towards actually resolving this challenge, these black cards, you have to always ensure that you have a project in hands, the project that you have to finance. Because sometimes the reason why we are so generous with giving out resources like this is because a lot of it lie fallow in our accounts. They are within reach. Since the funds are within reach and maybe a family member, a friend cries to you and say the wife has a problem, medical or whatever, you can quickly reach out to these funds that you like. The one practical way to ensure that this don't become a major challenge for your period is having to always have projects that you're financing ahead of you so that the funds will not be available. No matter what the person says, you can't actually throw this fund around, but you can't even access it. So it's one practical way to ensuring that you do this. Because you may make a decision that you're not going to be responsive to demands like this. But the story that you come with might compel you to want to do this. So ensure that the funds are not with you so that they wouldn't even have motivation to even give it up. Because if you find people you don't have.
Exactly. So have you had practical cases in your business trajectory where the black past has influenced your decision making as an entrepreneur, as a CEO? Have you had cases like that where the black tax influenced the management decisions you've made or otherwise?
I don't understand. Influencers, yeah.
The black tax. There's an influx of black tax requests that has affected your business decision making.
A lot of it in time past because, people are wired differently, irrespective of how informed you are. Sometimes there are certain people who are actually very considerate and they open up the touchy stories easily than others. I think it's about upbringing and how much of it that you've seen around you. You feel like, okay, let me have this person because he's going through a fine can't. There are people who open up to it and there are some other persons who are very strict. You call them stingy people. They are not actually stingy people. They are just financially deceptive. Prudence. They are prudent before. Yes, I think that's the word. They are very prudent. So for me, I've had that challenge of trying to help a lot of people that we call the black swan tax. This is in this regard. I've had that challenge, but one of the ways I've been able to pay with it, I don't know if that is also is part of the question, is that, like I said, I tried to set a system that wouldn't give me an access to first. Really, they don't lose cash. Yes, lose cash. Okay, so I keep a minimum balance to my account where you can't demand more than that. It lose cash. That's the keyword. Don't have loose cash. Once you've discovered that you have that vulnerability, so the best thing to do is to stay away from cash. Stay away from cash. no matter how disciplined you try, no matter how much discipline you try to apply, if you're not that person, it can't be that person. But there are persons, even if they have millions within their coppers, they will not release a penny of it. But where there are some other persons, if they have 3,000, they do a giveaway with it. They are very generous with giving that.
So talking about the loose cash. So what's your take on the adverse effect of black tax affecting savings, affecting investment, and long-term wealth creations, especially for African countries or the black race as a whole? What's the impact? Yes, we know it's true. Or what's the bigger picture in terms of impact effects?
No, the effect is enormous. Wow. Like I said, you dig funds. You need resources to be able to set up a business and scale that business. And when you have a situation whereby there are a lot of people who are depending on you, for school fees, for rent, for hospital bills, maternity, wherever, and all of these expenses, you and I know that you wouldn't be able to do so much with the business that will not even break even, not break even. If the business will collapse, because practically you'll be having many notes, the politically, we'd like to say earlier, leakages. And the funds will be going out from those parts, and you wouldn't have sufficient of it.
Just to follow up on this, so what's the role of financial literacy for family members, friends, on avoiding or evading the black tax syndrome? What's the role of financial literacy? Financial literacy.
Is it on the part of the
family and friends that always want the so-called leeway, the giveaway, or what we see today as a black tax? What's the role of financial literacy? If they are more literate, if they are more prudent or astute with their resources, I'm sure probably they will need less from other persons.
Yes, let's not avoid or reduce the role of the system here. But some of this is a systemic problem. A lot of these people actually would want to be financially independent. They want to actually earn for themselves. Maybe society hasn't given them that advantage as CGL. So they're depending on someone, a friend, a family member, and all of it. Nevertheless, when you're financially literate, you will know how best you can manage the little resources that have been probably benevolently given to you, probably by a friend or a relative, or by the little jobs you're doing. Because one of the causes of all of these problems is that a lot of these family members and friends are not really prudent with resources. You have a situation whereby you give a relative or a friend, say for example, 5,000 or 50,000 Nigerian naira, and you'll be thinking that will go a long way to solving his problem, especially when he has requested for 2,000, and you decide to give him 50,000. Wow, you'll be so shocked that that friend will come back in a week's time and tell you he needs 60,000 with another storyline, because he's not really planning to invest that resources that you're giving to him into a business. Rather, he's just needing it to scale through that day or that week, and now revert back to you for more of such funds. So financial literacy will help the family or the friends and that circle to be able to see that, okay, this fund that the person is giving to me is not just, it's a seed. So I should also invest in it so I don't come back asking for more from that person.
In this case, sorry to cut you, is there a role for government to play, financial institution to play, to in this ecosystem or this value chain that does with one successful, too many dependent on one successful individual? Is there a role, is there anywhere the government or financial institution can play in this value chain?
Yes, the government has got a role to play in the major roles to play in the life of our citizens, especially a system whereby people are going through job crisis, graduates, unemployment on the rise, and all of these things. The government has got a role to play. In developed societies, you have some social schemes that cater for, it's called social security, that cater for the needs of the people, even when they are not painfully government factor them into the plan, into their budget. There are policies that cover up for this area, but in certain developing countries, you don't have this. So the people revert to their friends and their family members for survival. So the government has got a major role to play in this, making policies that put into consideration the social welfare of the citizens. The very largest government has got a role to play in helping us know about this.
So it's well this. In conclusion, now you know how busy you are. You've had a lot of distractions, calls here and there. How do we strike the balance? Because this video is not about painting the black tax, because we have a culture back in Africa where we live this communal life. You know, like we say, one family gives birth to a baby, but the community raises that child. That's our culture and our mentality back home. And no matter where we go in diaspora, we always keep that in our mind. That's why we create communities even when we go abroad. So how do we strike the balance that the black tax doesn't drop down the entrepreneur, and as well as the entrepreneur doesn't forget his heritage? So how do we strike equilibrium regarding this conversation? Because the idea is not to nail those are the other divide as the enemies of progress or success, but to strike a balance. So how do we come at an even point regarding this conversation around black tax and business success?
Yes, it just like you've identified is a cultural thing in, as they say, in Africa, Nigeria precisely.
And also, I guess, another part of the world, but it's more common when she's developing this success.
It's a cultural thing. So, like I was advising a friend who is doing very well in business and is faced with this black tax. A lot of people come to him for assistance of all kinds. I was talking to him and about his relatives that he has put on salary without they are not working, but if they are on salary, I told him that this is part. I said the best thing you can do for this people, but are you able to strike a balance to pay a job? I say whatever it costs you to get them a job, do that so that they will be financially independent. I said no matter what you pay them, the salary you pay, it will get to a point that they wouldn't be able to cope with it again. So, and when you try to take them out of that salary or whatever, the problem will come up. They wouldn't remember the number of times, the months and years that you paid this salary, because they just depend on it. That's the human nature for you. So the best thing is, if you have people who are depending on you, they come around and want you to assist them whatsoever way you can. If it's possible for you, give them some financial literacy. That's number one. Number two, help them get something that will spread it, and there was a sustainable system for them. Get them a job, let them work and earn and fend for themselves. But if you keep giving them handouts, it never ends. It's a chain. No, it can never end. You keep going, and that person keeps coming back just like that. And you get frustrated. At the end of it, you gather enmity from people you used to be good friends with. So look for a system, a sustainable system for them that they can earn for themselves.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful having this conversation with you. Guys, you can share the video. Today we just deliberated on the tax. What are the role of black tax on the business ecosystem with our CEO, Mr. Olga, Mr. Cyril Olga. And I hope to see him one of this other time to glean from his knowledge. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode. It's always nice to be here. Ciao. Bye-bye. Good to see you.